All right, Week 7 is bringing us a lot of games with conference title implications. We've got Southern and Trimble here tonight. Over in the SBC, Unioto and Southeastern, I'm telling you, it is a big night for football. We're going to have these two games and more for you tonight on
Gridiron Glory!
Hey, welcome back into Studio A for another episode of Gridiron Glory. I am your host, Joseph Payton, and as always, we have got a jam-packed show for you tonight. And we are kicking off tonight's show with a familiar MVL showdown. The Sheridan Generals, they welcome Tri-Valley, and MVL reporter Nick Orsini was there. He now joins us live from Zanesville.
Yeah, Joey P. This was a game Tri-Valley has had circled on their schedule, on their calendar since the schedules came out. Last year, the Generals ended that 47-game conference win streak, so tonight in Thornville, it was all about revenge. Now, Sheridan's Ethan Heller needed everything to go right tonight for the Generals to pull off the upset. Right from the start, Heller connects with Jacob Rhodes. He makes a few Scotty defenders miss for a 17-yard gain. Now, Sheridan worked the ball downfield, and Jarrett Munyon caps off the 11-play, 80-yard drive with a 1-yard run, 7-0 Sheridan early. After a Tri-Valley 3-and-out, Heller again connects with Rhodes from 18 yards. He was making Scotty defenders miss all night. Now, Heller and the Generals knew they needed their best game tonight. Sitting at 3-3, a loss would ultimately end their chance for a spot in the postseason. Their offense was clicking on all cylinders tonight, really picking apart that Scotty defense, making that defense really tired. Now, Heller connected with Tanner Wallenberg from 6 yards out. It was 14-0 Generals in the second. Big shocker. Now, Tri-Valley needed something to give them momentum, and they got it from safety Jake McLaughlin, who picks off Heller and returns it into Sheridan territory. But again, that defense from Sheridan was just too stingy, and the Scotties couldn't get any points. Now, Sheridan got the ball back with 2 minutes left, looking to go up 21-0 before half. But Heller finds Tri-Valley's Nathan Lawler, who brings it into the red zone with just under a minute. Now, Tri-Valley tacked on a field goal, 14-3 at half. But it was all Scotties in the second half. 24-14, Tri-Valley goes on to win.
So Tri-Valley, they come from behind to get the victory, but early on the Scotties' offense looked very uncharacteristic. So how did they turn this one around?
Well, Sheridan really needed to keep the pressure on Tri-Valley, but their offense and defense just got gassed in the second half. Now, Tri-Valley came out in the second half a completely different team. Their first drive had some potential, but the Generals D forced a turnover late in their own territory. Now, Sheridan's offense just went stone cold. It was a combination of the Scotties' defense buckling down and finishing their tackles. Now, Munyon was virtually held in check in the second half, and Heller lost his connection with his receivers. Now, Andrew Newsom began finding holes in that tired Sheridan defense. He ran one in from 16 yards out to give the Scotties the lead, and added a 39-yard touchdown to Dow Cameron to ice the game with 4 minutes left in the game. Now, when in doubt, Joey P., turn to your best player to win you the football game. He's been their leader all season, and he was their leader again tonight. A tough loss for Sheridan tonight, but Heller threw 4 interceptions, including a pick 6. Now, Tri-Valley's tough enough to beat, Joey P., but when you give them extra possessions, they're really almost impossible to beat. Now, this one sets up a big one in Dresden next week as the Scotties welcome the John Glenn Little Muskies, a game that might ultimately decide the champion of the MVL.
All right, good stuff from you out there, Nick. Thanks a lot, man. So let's say you want to know more information about the Tri-Valley Sheridan game. We've got the spot for you. Go to woub.org/gridiron. On our site, you'll find all of our game recaps from tonight's action, and of course, throughout the course of the week, even more. We've got previews, power rankings, and feature stories coming your way, and it all gets posted on our site. So go over there and check it out for us. Now, coming into tonight, the NelsonvilleYork Buckeyes are one of 2 undefeated teams left in our coverage. But tonight, they hosted a tough Wellston Rockets defense. TVC Ohio reporter Clark Wicks, he was there for it all, and he joins me now on desk.
And like you said, Joseph, this Wellston defense has been lights out lately, allowing just 14 points in their last 2 games. But if anybody can put up points, it's this Buckeye offense. And the Buckeyes are coming into this one pumped up, all right? They have Garrett Maiden, Keegan Wilburn, Chris Cook. They have all the offense they need. Now, you can't really stop them when you get them going, but that's not what happened early on, all right? They came in, they were fired up. Neither team had lost a conference game yet, so this is going to be a big one. But the Golden Rockets got things going on early as quarterback Michael Graham took it around the right side and dives in 9 yards, first down on the NY25. Now it's 4th and 13 here, but they opt to go for it as he connects with Rylan Mullihan for the first down. Now penalties are going to keep them out of the end zone here and put the ball back in this man's hands, Garrett Maiden. Now he's going to throw it over to Chris Cook on the screen, but he goes nowhere as Mullihan is there with the tackle. Loss of 5 yards on the play, but that's not going to keep him down. A few plays later, he hits Richards on the sideline, and then he takes it up the middle himself, finds the end zone on this one, 23 yards, 7-0, NelsonvilleYork early on in the second half. Now a few plays later, now that's not going to stop Travis Jajon. He is all about it, but he does get taken down by this tough defense. Now, NY gets the ball back on their own 27 with just under a minute left. Minute 30 left in the half. Don't worry, Maiden's still going to send it. He finds this man, Chris Cook, takes it 57 yards before getting pushed out of bounds inside the 57. So that's 57 yards on the play. Now, Maiden's going to take it here himself again. 9 yards on the carry into the end zone. 14-0 at the half, but they're going to run away with it 34-2.
Well, 8-0. This is a real special season really shaping out for NelsonvilleYork, but this game was scoreless after the first quarter, so what happened?
Well, like I said earlier, Joseph, this Wellston defense has been hot lately, allowing just 14 points in their previous 2 games. But even the best defenses are having trouble slowing down Garrett Maiden this year. He completed 7 of his 13 passes for 183 yards tonight. And when the secondary is busy protecting against the pass, Maiden takes advantage on the ground. He had 8 carries tonight and found the end zone on 2 of them. There's a reason he's a Gridiron Glory Player of the Year candidate, Joseph. And he's also one of the reasons this team hasn't lost yet. That being said, Wellston did a great job slowing down this potent offense at the beginning of the game. Of NelsonvilleYork's 4 drives in the first half, 2 resulted in 3-and-outs, but the other 2 were touchdowns. Now Wellston was able to slow down NelsonvilleYork and get the ball to their offense. But while the Golden Rocket defense was able to keep them in the game, their offense struggled consistently. And that may have something to do with this stellar Buckeye defense. NelsonvilleYork held star Wellston running back Travis Jajon to just 58 yards on 19 carries. They also picked off quarterback Michael Graham twice. He went on to throw for only 50 yards in the game. You just can't win a football game with that. Now, as long as NelsonvilleYork continues to dominate on both sides of the ball, they shouldn't have any issue securing the TVC Ohio crown.
Well, undefeated with just a few games left, it's definitely a possibility. Thanks for the great work, Clark. Now, I know football season around here is more than just what happens on the gridiron. It's also about you, the fans. And I was in Gloucester tonight before the Trimble Southern game to find our fan of the week. Let them get a good look at the hair here. Get in the camera, check that out. They didn't have any hair dye. We got to get this man some hair dye, maybe buzz it off, because we got to keep the Mohawk Mafia tradition going, don't we?
Yeah.
You want to come check out the soup? Tell us what this is all about.
Let me take a bite here first. Band Booster selling this. Help support Trimble Athletics. Go Tomcats.
So since 11 o'clock, we've been getting this going for game day, right?
Yes.
So there's a lot of preparation that goes into this stuff. Would you say this is a fan favorite for sure?
I think so.
I know they love their Tomcat pride here. This guy's got plenty of it, and that's why Mick is our fan of the week. That's what I'm talking about, man. Let's go. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. That's good stuff. Man, I'm telling you, as soon as I saw old boy Mick in the crowd, I knew we had an icon in the house. That's good stuff out there in Gloucester. So now that you've seen some pregame festivities from that one, let's talk about the game. Both Trimble and Southern were set to duke it out for the number 2 spot in the conference, and we had TVC Hawking guru Duncan Goldberg there at the game. So Duncan, how did it go down?
Well, Joey P., you know, it's been quite some time since the Tornadoes have actually beaten the Tomcats, but the Tornadoes, they were giddy to change this one and finally jump above the Tomcats in the TVC Hawking standings. And there's a look at Max Hooper. He's one of those deadly Trimble running backs. Why is this man so tired? Well, you're about to find out. Now the Tornadoes, they get the ball here first, but the Tomcats, they're going to say, no, 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 not today, and force a 3-and-out right away from the get-go with their stellar defense. Then the Trimble, their first possession starts with some good chunk runs. This one's by Cam Kittle. He's going to go for a solid 6 yards as he's going to dance around a little bit. And then on 4th and 1, Cam Kittle is going to hit the Tornadoes with that deadly quarterback sneak, but he's going to find the nooks and the crannies there and take this one into the end zone from 50 yards out, giving the Tomcats a 7-0 lead. than Southern. Their next drive looks smooth with the passing game, and on 3rd and 9 from the 29, Riley Roush finds his man Dylan Smith, and he dances his way into the end zone, but 7-6 Trimble still. Then there's a long scoring drought for both teams as on the defense on both sides step up, and here's a big 11-yard sack by the Tomcats. But here we go, Max Hooper. He's going to take this ball to the outside, and somehow this man is going to stay on his feet like a ballerina. Then some poor, hopeless soul is going to lose his jockstrap as Max Hooper leaves him in the dust and sends the Tomcats in the half with a 15-6 lead. And then they're going to take this one 21-6 in a close game, though.
Well, Duncan, the Tomcats, they just barely pulled this out, but a W is a W. But you found out something pretty interesting about this rivalry. Enlighten us.
Yeah, Joey P., this is going to hurt some ears a little bit. Can you tell me the similarity between Richard Nixon and the Southern Tornadoes at all?
Well, I'm not sure about the similarity there, but I do know it's been a good while since Southern has knocked them off.
Yeah, it's been a good time, Joey P. The last time the Tornadoes beat the Tomcats was in 1973. That was when Richard Nixon was president. That is one long winning streak, and the reason why the Tomcats extended that winning streak was because of their stout defense. Their offense wasn't as dynamic as it normally is tonight, but man, that defense came to play, especially that front four. Last week, the Tomcats were able to add transfer Tyler Roback to their roster, and he's been impressive at that nose guard position. He might be small, but that dude's like a little muscle hamster.
Hey, well, defense wins championships, that's for sure, but Southern kept this game close. How do you think they did that?
Yeah, you know, they were able to keep it close. It was 14-6 late in the fourth quarter, but defense, they were looking great on that side of the ball, and also the passing game looked great tonight for the Tornadoes, but ultimately it just wasn't good enough.
Well, it sure looks like it. We appreciate the great work. It was a good game out there. Good work, my man. Now, sticking with the trend of this game, our snap of the week coming from the Tomcats. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And they say real men wear pink, right? Well, these guys are fitted up. Smooth look with the headwear. That's always an underrated part of the look, in my opinion, because it covers up the helmet, or the helmet covers up your head. But then you've got the sleeve game there. Incredible. The socks, clean as can be. Looking good out there, fellas, and for a good cause. So now we head over to tonight's Warren game. It was our first look at the Warriors this season. Reporter Connor Mills went to Vincent, Ohio to cover the game as they welcomed the John Marshall Monarchs.
Thanks, Joey P. The Warren Warriors came into Week 7 without a win this season. The Warriors are looking to put their past problems behind them and have a better night tonight. It was a great night for football at Warren High School's football field as head coach Tim Carver gave his players some motivational words before taking the field in search for win 1. Derek Hess opens up the drive with a 7-yard run bouncing to the outside, bulldozing his way down the field. After a couple more runs from Hess, he sets up the passing game for Jordan Wood. Wood connects with Chase McCool on the far sideline. He goes untouched 45 yards into the end zone. Monarchs are wasting no time as they go up 7-0 early in the game. After another John Marshall touchdown and Warren continuing to go 3-and-out, quarterback Ronnie Hill was not giving up yet. Hill lays out for this one and gets the turnover for the Warriors, but unfortunately for Warren, nothing will come of the drive. While Warren was struggling, Hess was heating up, shaking defenders left and right, and no one was in sight. Hess takes this one 54 yards to the house. Monarchs extend their lead 28-0. And towards the end of the first half, John Marshall exploded for 20 points, highlighted by a 64-yard punt return from Chase McCool that led to another touchdown. The Warriors will get 6 in the second half, but it'll be too little too late as John Marshall hands the Warriors their 7th loss of the season. The final, 48-6, John Marshall.
All right, Connor, it was a tough loss for the Warriors tonight. What has been their biggest problem for them this season?
Well, Joey, there was a lot of frustration on offense tonight as head coach Tim Carver was quoted saying, "Our offensive line was getting eaten alive." The offense struggled all night long, and it started with their line. John Marshall was able to dominate the line of scrimmage and shut down the Warriors' run game and sack the quarterback almost at will. We saw the Warrior quarterback drop 3 times in the first half. Also, Joey, this is a team that is suffering from injuries, which required some young Warriors to step up to the varsity team. They started the season with 8 seniors and lost 3. As a result, Warren is starting 5 freshmen on offense and 4 on defense. Unfortunately for the Warriors, the inexperience shows.
Well, while the Warriors offense had a tough go of it tonight, it was obviously a different story for the Monarchs.
That's right, Joey P. In the first half alone, John Marshall had 357 total yards. Leading the charge against the Warriors was Derek Hess, who had 184 total yards, scoring 4 of the Monarchs' 7 touchdowns. Also, Jordan Wood was able to carve up the Warriors' defense, passing for 146 yards and for 2 touchdowns. Wood was able to find his receivers with ease, completing the majority of his passes in the first half. The balanced attack between Hess and Wood is a real reason John Marshall is 5-2 this season. Warren is going through some growing pains this season, but those young guns are getting good experience for the future.
They sure are. Hey, thanks for the good work out there, Connor. We appreciate it, man. All right, now joining us live is Frontier Athletic Conference reporter Will Collins. He went out to Hillsboro to see the Indians square off with the Washington Courthouse Blue Lions.
That's right, Joey P. We're out here in Hillsboro tonight, and we watched a battle of the wills in which each team was looking for their first FAC win tonight. It was here at homecoming in Hillsboro that the Hillsboro Indians got a win over the Washington Courthouse Blue Lions, 41-34 tonight. This was a game largely dominated by Hillsboro's rushing attack. Tonight, it was all about the running game, and Hillsboro's running backs showed it quite early on. Dion Burns and Josh Keats both rushed for over 150 yards and averaged as a total for the offense together 7 yards a carry. But don't worry, this dominance also stemmed on defense as well. Hillsboro was holding Washington Courthouse all night and had a couple of key goal line stops that held Courthouse out of the end zone and kept this game from turning the tide the other way. Hillsboro hasn't won this game since 2005, and yet they come out with the win tonight after 8 losses in 12 years.
Well, it sounds like this game was a pretty exciting one, Will. Was there just as much scoring in the second half as in the first?
Yes, there was. I mean, Washington Courthouse, even very late into the game, was still in this game and only down 7 with minutes to go. They recovered an onside kick late in the game in which quarterback Robert Burns led them down, and they were knocking on the door against Hillsboro. But Hillsboro came up with one of those key goal line stands and was able to hold them out of the end zone and even intercept Burns. But on the ensuing play, they would actually end up fumbling the ball and giving the ball back to Courthouse, who got 4 fresh downs to get a crack at the end zone. But they still came up empty-handed as Hillsboro's quarterback Mason Swain ended up saving the night for Hillsboro and the win. And there you have it.
All right, well, we appreciate you out there, buddy, and get home safe tonight, all right?
Thanks, Joey P.
All right, now you know that we live in a digitally connected world, and of course, we don't want to leave any of our viewers out of that as well. So get on Twitter and go follow us at Gridiron Glory and tweet at us using the hashtag GridGlory. And of course, you can follow that guy on your screen there too, at GG_JoeyP. I think that's a pretty great idea, in my opinion. We love hearing from you all, so give us a shout on Twitter, and one of these days, you might end up as our tweet of the week. Now, how about Chillicothe this year? They just keep on winning, and they're headed for a big-time Week 10 showdown with Jackson. But right now, senior reporter Eric Threet, the second, is here to talk with me about the engine that keeps this team running.
And he's strong, agile, he's quiet and humble. He's had 30 total touchdowns last season and Southeast Ohio District Player of the Year. Brandon Moffmer is the catalyst for the Chillicothe Cavaliers, but Moffmer wasn't the man from the jump.
Racial slur, but I think the comment was, why are you here? You're not white.
If Brandon ever thought he didn't belong, he never showed it. His work ethic, personality, and confidence allowed him to not only belong, but excel.
I was just like nervous because I knew my sophomore year didn't go well.
Alonzo Booth, wait, is that his name? Shrugged Khalil. Shout out to Khalil.
It was just my quarterback coach. He helped me every day. Before practice, we get drills in. After practice, we get drills in. And just in the off season, it was every day. And it was just, he just really stayed on me about just getting better.
All of us were nervous, you know, and we all just kind of like grouped together, and we're just like, you know what, we need to step up. Like, this is a varsity time.
My first touchdown in my high school varsity career was a 90-yard touchdown pass. I just didn't feel like I was ready, but once I threw that touchdown, I just calmed down and just went on from there, and I just got better as the season went on.
Like, we had you back, and then now you just got comfortable with the game. Now you're getting like all these 70-yard runs and stuff for no reason.
It always makes you feel good when you feel that somebody's always there for you.
Even his team, I watch his team. You see the team coming in to help him, not to leave him, but to help him.
But in life, one's belonging is often tested.
At first it started on Snapchat. I met her through my cousin actually, and she started snapping me just at random times, and I was like, okay, she must enjoy talking to me. Guess she wants to be good friends, so I was like, okay. They were going really well until her parents, they weren't really with us going together because I'm an African American. She told me it's because her parents didn't want their grandchildren to have a harder life just because they're black. So I see it all the time, like you see it in movies or whatever, but I was just like, this is real life. Like, I'm really about to go through this because obviously I want to be with her.
So y'all were like on the low?
Yeah, basically, yeah. It does.
That is
so.
like some movie stuff.
Yeah. And I texted her mom this morning and told her I thanked her and everything. And I guess she cried a little bit because she was she felt bad about the way she judged me and stuff for like just what I look like and not who I am inside.
People shouldn't be like categorized in groups like blacks, Asians, like stuff like that. You know, we're all like humans. Yeah.
It's not about what you look like. It's just about the type of person you are inside, about how you treat others and just what you can do to make this world a better place.
And every day, the Cavaliers come together and work toward their goal of a state championship. Their quarterback is stronger and more knowledgeable because of Chillicothe, and Chillicothe is a better team and place with Brandon. And we all have uphill battles, but you'll continue to see Brandon and Chillicothe climb as they get closer and closer to a playoff berth.
Of course, you know, me and you, we're going to keep a close eye on them as well. We just saw, you know, the type of person he is, but we also can't forget the way this guy plays on the field. This is the reigning Southeast District Player of the Year. What are some things that you like about him, not only just off the field that translates onto the field in the real game, but some things that you think he can really make some noise on moving forward?
Well, a big thing with him, he's not a very vocal person. He leads by example, and he worked for what he has. His dad told me that in 8th grade he came home and he was upset that he wasn't getting playing time, and that's when he first started to turn up and started working on his craft, and he made sure that he put himself in a position to succeed, and his teammates follow suit.
Absolutely, and you can really tell the teammates have his support. It's one thing, you know, the quarterback, they say it's like the point guard on the field there, but you can't do it without all your boys, right?
Most definitely, and he loves his teammates. He loves his teammates. He makes sure that his teammates get some of the credit when they're talking about his accolades and what he's doing. He's real quick to share the sugar.
Absolutely, and you can tell just right there from that story, man, that's an awesome story. We appreciate it, Eric.
Yes, sir.
All right, we talked about Twitter just a moment ago, so now we've got to talk some Facebook action. It's just another great way for us to connect with you and a great way for you to receive content from us. I mean, if you liked Eric's story on Brandon Moffmer, that'll be posted on there, and you can share it with all your people. But first, you've got to go like our page, so check it out, Gridiron Glory on Facebook. Now, this next game, it's as big as it gets. Unioto and Southeastern met up tonight in a game that puts the winner in the driver's seat of the SVC. And for that reason, this one was our game of the week.
165 pounds, he's not supposed to.
All right, so for this big game of the week, we sent SVC reporter Nick Niehaus out there. Nick, what did you see out there?
Joseph, this game is basically the conference championship with both teams undefeated in conference play. And with playoffs in the crosshairs for both teams, I guess you can say this one's pretty important. So now here we see these are the seniors. This is their last time running onto the field, so they're going to try to make this one last against Unioto. And here we see Unioto with the ball. This is Gabe Fisher with the quarterback keeper up the left end. This is number 33, taking it 33 yards. This possession will stall, however, giving Southeastern the ball. So now here's Lane Ruby, quarterback for Southeastern, and he is sacked, giving Unioto the ball right back. So Unioto trying to capitalize, and Gabe Fisher, just watch this closely, he hurdles a defender and goes out of bounds. Now later in the possession, Gabe Fisher, he takes it to the air, this time finding Chance Smith, and nobody is around him. Chance Smith takes this one 49 yards for the touchdown. First score of the game, making it 7-0 Unioto. Later in the quarter, Gabe Fisher with another quarterback keeper and another hurdle into the end zone. Now it's 14-0 Unioto in the second quarter. So Southeastern, they're trying to find some mojo. And here's Lane Ruby in the air again, finding Carson Stouffer on the halfback draw, and he's going to take it out of the sideline. However, and Lane Ruby again through the air finds John Winfield in the end zone, making it 6-0 14. Now that was their first touchdown of the game, but it would not be their last as they scored two unanswered touchdowns in the second half to win the game 18-14.
You know, me and you were talking before the show. We saw a lot of Unioto highlights there and what we saw on the screen, but, you know, Southeastern was really the story of this game. How was their offense able to get going?
Joey P., in that first half, that Unioto defense really stepped up and came to play. Anything up the middle for Southeastern was basically a wasted play offensively because that tank defensive line ate absolutely everything up. Now, after we left, the second half is a completely different story. Southeastern, who normally sticks to the modified wishbone offense, had to switch it up to even score going to the air for 2 touchdowns. Now, Southeastern was able to cut their first half deficit in the fourth quarter with a touchdown, and on the ensuing kickoff, Unioto fumbled it, giving it right back to Southeastern, who took advantage and scored their 3rd touchdown, taking the lead back with a few minutes left in the game.
So it seemed like Southeastern's offense, they got it together. But, you know, what happened to that Unioto offense in the second half? Seems like they just went nowhere.
Yeah, as we saw, the Unioto offense during the first half was pretty dominant. Quarterback Gabe Fisher was an absolute tank on the ground, but they had one major flaw: penalties. Penalties absolutely killed the Shermans. They ended the game with 23 penalties, totaling 178 yards. That lack of discipline is really what gave Southeastern the edge and gave them extra life in the second half to take the lead and finish this game with a victory. And with that victory, Southeastern was able to keep their perfect season alive and now are heavy favorites to take the crown in the Scioto Valley Conference.
I mean, undefeated. It looks like they could win the SVC. They're in the driver's seat now. It's incredible, isn't it? We appreciate your good work, Nick. We'll see you some other time, my man. Well, with all the action from across the area tonight, we had to take a very close look at the big moments that stood out. So without further ado, here's a look at tonight's top plays. Now kicking it off, play number 3, Sheridan versus Tri-Valley. The Generals there on offense. QB dropping back. We're off balance, and oh no, that wasn't the plan. Chris Maceros picks it off, and we are going the other way, folks. The squad's like, hey man, we'll meet you in the end zone, buddy. That is 6 points on the board for the Scotties. Defensive touchdowns, always exciting. So now let's check out play number 2. John Marshall's Derek Hess, just absolutely slicing up the Warren defense like a hibachi chef. Cooking the defenders. Hey, if you're taking orders, I'll have my steak medium well, Chief. We'll be seeing you. That's a 54-yard score. And now our top play of the night coming from G-Town, Gloucester Stadium, Trimble and Southern. Trimble's Max Hoover with the handoff. Word to Lil Yachty here, playing with the defense like peekaboo, and then, oh my, there may be a warrant out for his arrest after that juke. 30 yards to the crib, and Trimble would win. All right, so that's week 7 for you. Just a heads up, week 8, next Friday, be on the lookout. It is Friday the 13th, so if you're leaving work, all those things, get to the game safe. You never know what could happen out there. Friday the 13th, it freaks a lot of people out. But here's what you can expect on our show next week. First up, big stuff out of the MVL. Maysville on the road taking on Isaac Gill and the Philo Electrics. Hillsboro visits Holzer Field to take on Jackson. Huntington welcomes the Piketon Red Streaks to the house. Moving on, Southeastern after this week's big win will be at Paint Valley, and a big one in the Hawking next week, Waterford at Southern. That should be a doozy. Rounding it out, Benton County, they will host River Valley. I'm telling you, we have all kinds of stuff coming on next week's show. If that stuff doesn't get you fired up for high school football, I don't know what will. We have conference championships shaking out. The playoff picture is really coming into effect. But hey, you're going to have to tune in for the next couple weeks to see how this all shakes out. We appreciate you watching us tonight, and we will see you next Friday. But until then, remember, there is nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.